Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, Pop Culture Minefield proudly brings to you its PCM Dork Side of the Ring! The Dork Knight, Danny Ballard, the Atmosphere, Joe Rivers, and the Broad Street Bully, Johnny Rock! And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya! Suck it!
Hey everybody, and welcome to the inaugural episode, the premiere episode of Pop Culture Minefield, Dork Side of the Ring. I am your host, Danny Ballard, the Dork Knight. I have with me here, and pretty soon he'll have his own little setup. But with me today, sitting to my right, is Johnny Rock, and then where are we? This guy right here, a man who needs no introduction. Everybody here knows the Mighty Joe's Atmosphere.
From the home of Mid-South Wrestling, Joe's Atmosphere. What's up?
The home of Mid-South Wrestling. So,
hey, they filmed it right here at the Municipal Auditorium back in the day, bro.
Well, hey, that leads perfectly in. Let's not waste any time because we only got 2 hours. Joe, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your wrestling story, if you will, what got you into wrestling and out of it for a little bit apparently and got you back in, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. So,
sorry, Monkey's uncle, boot that guy. Don't want him here.
Boot that guy?
What did he say? He said Brett screwed Brett. No.
No. We all know better, boys and girls. We all know better.
Now we're going to have to fight.
The Attitude Boys screwed Bret Hart. Thank you very much. That's why I think it's funny that you're such an Attitude Era guy. Yeah, it's the Click that took care of that dude. But anyway, yeah, my start was when I was a kid, man. I was a big fan of the Fabulous Freebirds. They wrestled, I can't remember the name of the promotion. I want to say it's World Championship Wrestling over in Texas against the Von Erichs. They were big rivals of them. They also wrestled in Mid-South, which was Cowboy Bill Watts' organization, and that's what I watched as a kid. A lot of guys that ended up in the WWE when McMahon screwed his own father over and built, consolidated all the territories into one big machine. A lot of them from Mid-South showed up there. Coco Beware, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Dr. Death Steve Williams. I mean, there was a truckload of guys. Junkyard Dog, there was a bunch of them. And you guys you've probably watched film of these guys at some point. I watched them live,
In WWE when they had ice cream bars with their faces.
So WWE, you got to remember. Oh, hey, Mom. Yeah, I forgot I didn't text you. I'm sorry.
There she is.
So you're supposed to have notifications, though. She derailed me. I forgot. When I was a kid and I first started watching wrestling, there was a cartoon. I think it was actually called Rock and Wrestling. Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling.
Yeah,
and it
had the old schoolers on it. Yeah,
it had Junkyard Dog on there as a character and Rowdy Pipe, main villain, and So,
the thing that got me into it, though, guys, these are the days before the internet. I know most people don't believe they existed, but they did. And I was in my local Pack-a-Sack, the neighborhood store, and they had a wrestling magazine, had a bunch of black and white pictures of these 2 guys named Ric Flair and Harley Race wrestling each other for the NWA 10 Pounds of Gold Championship, which was the biggest belt in the world at the time.
Yeah.
And still, and it's lost its prominence, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, the last person, who owns it, who has it in their possession?
Yeah, Billy Corgan. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, the actual one with the bend.
Oh, okay. No, I don't.
Booker T.
Does he? That's funny. I've got an article later on, guys. This is the first time we're doing this show, and we have several segments. But I have an article about Booker T talking about the former 10 Pounds of Gold holder, one of my personal favorites, Nick Aldis.
Nice.
But anyway, I saw those black and white pictures. They were both bleeding and stuff. I was like, man, what are these guys doing? And I started watching it on TV, and I was hooked, man. From there, of course, the the territories eventually slammed together into WWF, and watched that stuff until my favorite dude. I used to watch guys like Jake the Snake Roberts. I always loved, and I always loved Macho Man Randy Savage. Those are probably my two favorite wrestlers back in the day.
Right on.
And whenever WrestleMania 5 came around and Macho beat on Hulk Hogan for 20 minutes straight, even dropped the ring bell on his throat, and that guy just did the epileptic seizure thing and dropped a leg on him and won, I was upset. And I stopped watching for a long time. And when I started watching again, Lex Luger had just joined WCW. And I started watching him. And I actually, that was in the 90s. I was a bartender. Go ahead.
The Mall of America episode, the first episode of Nitro?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. And I was very interested in this new thing they had. And I started watching that. And I was bartending at the time in the 90s. And, of course, I've already told you about my favorite match. And we'll get to that later. Whenever we get around to that subject. But I bartended for him. Every time he came through on a tour, he would come to the club I was at, and he'd park it right in front of my bar, and made me a whole bunch of money. Loved Lex. And of course, he's in my prayer list these days because, he hasn't been well. But Lex was a pretty cool guy.
Biography that they had recently about him?
No, I have not seen it.
Well, dude, I'll just send you a link. It's good. It's good. Yeah.
I hope they put the interview that Sting did with him on one of those. Sting actually interviewed him on one of those Christian networks. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know that about Sting. He's a big-time Christian. And,
yeah, no, a lot, actually, people be surprised. A lot of the wrestlers are. Ted DiBiase's a pastor.
Yep.
Undertaker's.
Oh, yeah. When I get to showing off, I got his signature over here. He actually let me. I've got a picture somewhere. I'll have to pull that out for a future episode. I'm actually got the $1 million belt on my shoulder. I met him here at a Comic-Con here. Yeah. But, I got back into it. I'll tell you what drug me back into it. It was about the time of WrestleMania. I'm sure everyone remembers that. WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. Yes. Whenever Daniel Bryan fought his way through every damn wrestler at the top of the roster in one pay-per-view. Shortly before that, I got back into it because I had a good friend who actually lives in did live in your neck of the woods. I've told you about this guy. His name was Harry Simon. Anybody that watched some of the comical wrestling shows that were on the internet at the time probably knows who I'm talking about. He was big in that community. He loved wrestling. His favorite wrestler was Rick Rude, and he'd been trying to get me back into it for a long time. We played this video game together where we talked almost on a daily basis, and he finally talked me into it. And the first show I watched, it was about the time of the Shield Summit when the Shield was threatening to maybe break up, and there was a tag team match going on, and the two guys that were tag teaming was Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Right. And
ironically,
they weren't getting along. You could tell the storytelling that was going on. They weren't getting along very well. And Dean tagged him in, and he acted like he wasn't even interested in getting in the ring. And when he got in the ring, he totally decimated the dude he was wrestling. He did the drive-by kick on him and everything. And then he went and tagged Dean and said, "Go clean that up for me," And, he pinned him and it was over. But when I saw him doing his thing, I said, man, I really like this guy. And he was my favorite wrestler in the WWE, has been ever since. They haven't booked him well up until the last couple of years. Since COVID started, they finally got smart. If people are going to boo him, make him a bad guy. And it has been the best thing in WWE since.
Roman's on fire. I only have two T-shirts of one wrestler, and it's Roman. I have two of his shirts. Like I have one of like all the others, but
I only have two of one wrestler as well.
Oh, really?
Alexa Bliss.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Well, I've always liked, and it's probably because of my love of football. I've always loved the ex-football players because I know something about them before they get there. And I loved Goldberg. I loved. Let's see. What's my man's name? Who they've totally trashed now? Happy Corbin. That guy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
When he was the lone wolf, I had 2 or 3 shirts of his, dude. I loved him when he had hair and everything. I loved that guy. He was a tight end for the Chiefs when he played. And You can tell. What's funny about these football guys? They put on weight and then they lose it after they quit playing. Because a lot of them, especially guys that play on the line, like Corbin and guys like Goldberg, they have to sometimes get surgery because I don't know if you notice, Corbin always wears a shirt because if he doesn't wear a shirt, you can tell he has lost a lot of weight in his stomach.
Yeah.
He's got a slat for a belly button. You know what I'm saying? And so. Yeah, I've always been intrigued by it, and
so you were gone for what? If my math's right, about 20 years.
Just about. I watched it here and there. I'd turn it on. I turned it on once and saw Stone Cold, and I didn't understand what was going on, but I saw Stone Cold clacking beer cans together, and I was like, "What is this?" You know?
Hell yeah!
And I didn't. Like I said, I didn't know what was going on. I know now.
You missed the best era of wrestling.
That's what I understand, and I've watched film of it since, and it looks
certainly
really cool.
One of the most ridiculous eras.
Oh yeah,
yes. But you know what? You got to give it to those guys because when WCW was taken off, they had serious competition. They actually dropped in the ratings there for a while. And guys like Paul Levesque, Triple H and his crew.
82 weeks. 82 weeks.
Yeah.
They lost to WCW for 82 weeks.
Right. There was a long time there, man. It was more than a year. But none of some of those guys did not jump ship. The Undertaker and the Clique did not jump ship. And
half of the Clique.
The Clique did. Yeah, you're right. Half of them did. They did. Really, but
Hunter,
what I'm saying is Generation X did not. Okay, D-Generation X did not leave.
Well, I mean,
it depends on because
Hall and Nash were the Clique, and they went
right.
over.
Yeah,
before the NWO.
They went over. Yeah,
and then you had Sean Waltman,
and Rick Rude, and people seem to forget Rick Rude was an original member of DX.
Yeah, he was
an official Clique member though.
No, he wasn't a Clique member, but he said DX.
Yeah.
Click DX.
Yeah, I mean,
like I said, I don't know that era very well, but I know Shawn Michaels never flipped and Paul Levesque never flipped. Okay, and the Undertaker didn't go anywhere; he stayed right there. Yeah. And guys like today, Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin, they're so loyal to the company. They'll do anything they tell them to do, and I just wish they'd fight back a little bit and get their characters back. You know?
I mean, Seth Rollins is a perfect example. He lost to Cody Rhodes 3 consecutive times to help that dude over, and that that's a company man. I actually love Seth Rollins. He's a great heel.
Well, you mentioned Cody Rhodes. Look at him. He didn't like what they were doing with him. Of course, he wasn't as big as Seth was at the time. And he asked for his release. They graciously gave it to him because he's son of a guy that worked for the company at the time. Yeah. Son of a plumber, right? And
what shit was bananas? Monkey's uncle.
Yeah,
man. Once you're done, I'm going to catch up with the chat, and then we'll have
absolutely. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up with this. My favorite story in wrestling since I came back is Cody Rhodes betting on himself, and we'll get into that later on. But that has been my favorite story so far.
That's actually coming up after we talk about ourselves. But hey, I want to do that thing he loves to do so much. First of all, thank you all so much for joining us for this first show. This is our first one, so we're working out the kinks. I hope everybody liked the intro Gary made. I almost cried when I watched it for the first time. It
is cool. He did a good job on it.
Yeah, the logo he made was great. We're still working on some more bells and whistles for you guys, so we'll be. As time goes on, we'll be adding clips and outro, fun little segments, things like that. But today we're just going to be mostly talking. And so right now we've got 14 watching us live. So thank you very much to the 14 watching us live. Apparently we've lost a couple people because we have 16 likes. So I can't even ask you guys to like it. You're already doing it. If you can share us out, please do. And if you don't already, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell to get reminders. Mom. And let's go through the chat here. So let's see. We had Krampus Jeebus was the first one in, but for some reason his comment disappeared. And I don't know if he's still here or not, but Krampus said that, the Nature Boy Ric Flair was his favorite wrestler and the best of all time. To which my reply, as you can see in the chat, which is weird because I started with a but, and it's the first thing in there because it was deleted. So there you go. But Bret Hart is the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And I don't care what anybody has to say about it. Anyway, thank you, Krampus Jeebus. Next, we had Jacob the Critic, who says Rey Mysterio is his favorite. So that's cool. Hey, man, Rey Mysterio is good. He's good stuff. I'm going to say hi to Martine. I know that Gary doesn't do that, but Martine's actually just doing backstage work today. He's here with us. He's just not on with us because he doesn't know fuck all about wrestling. It just is what it is. He's uncle. Thank you, Joe. You're in the panel with us. So
I'm always in the chat, baby. I live in the chat.
Anima Confusa. I thought you were on date night with Gary, so I appreciate my concubine cheating on him with me. Thank you very much. Cecilia Rivera, the love of my life, my fiancée. Thank you so much. Mom. Penny, as you guys call her. It's weird for me to say Penny, but
I can't even get my mom to watch my stuff.
Dude, my mom watches stuff I used to be on that I'm not on anymore. Like, it's a total traitor. Anyway, love you, Mom. And then we have War Monkey. That's one of Gary's favorite monkeys. Then we also have Dragon Ruse.
Now I see we have War Monkey and Monkey's uncle. Is there a family connection there?
I don't know. That's a good question. Let us know in the chat.
That is a good question.
What is it? Where was I? Dragon
question.
Ruse. Parrot Head. Hey, Parrot Head. I always enjoy.
Ooh, some spiciness in the chat.
So Parrot Head, I always enjoy your extremely inappropriate memes in our private chats. Those are so much fun. And then I think and then Gap After Dark. Hey, that's awesome. Yeah, so I think I covered everybody. King Sport Cow is here. What up, King Sport Cow? He gives me lots of shit, and I guarantee you he's going to give me plenty today. So now up with the chat. Thank you, everyone, for swinging by. Now I'm going to let this gentleman right here, Johnny Rock, tell you why he's on a wrestling show, what he has to do with wrestling, because it's actually a little bit more than a fan. So take it away, buddy.
Well, I mean, this is my third wrestling podcast that I've been a part of now. We're going to do great things. I'm pretty excited with the team we got here. Where to begin? I'm in my mid-40s. I've been a wrestling fan since I was about 5 years old. My uncle had some business connections. He worked in the business. Got me involved from a very young age. Been a lifelong fan. Started around the time that Joe was getting out of it.
So what was the first you prospect you did?
Oh, it's my uncle actually.
Uncle.
No. He was the worker. He was a worker. I was just a fan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Let me specify that I am a lifelong wrestling fan, like amateur wrestling historian. I love little factoids and little, tiny factoids about wrestling. I probably just use factoids, guys.
It's okay, man.
Above all else, I do have a little bit of insider knowledge on the business because I've worked in a lot of indie federations between here in Nevada and California. Mm-hmm. Been a backstage guy. Got to know some talent. Got to know people who are doing great things in the industry right now. So I kind of look at things as more of like a backstage point of view, not just necessarily what the fan sees. I kind of provide insight into how the business works and why things are booked the way they are, why wrestlers sometimes act the way they act.
So explain to people, if you don't mind, what the hell this Broad Street Bully thing was that the announcer said.
Oh, well, I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the greatest sports city on God's green earth. I will fight people. I'm sorry. Who beat the Vikings? Yeah. Who beat the Vikings? The Vikings only got 2 losses. Who was the first?
Okay.
Hey,
Stocks. I was hoping you would stop by, buddy.
We don't want to talk about who they lost to, though, Johnny.
It was a trap game. I like it. I like it that the pressure's off. If I had to hear somebody mention 72 Dolphins one more time in my face, I would.
Hey, that's my wife.
Hey. Let's talk for a different show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is. That's a talk for my show, man. That's it. Yeah.
But I mean, as a lifelong, I think the only times I haven't been watching wrestling on a regular basis was I did get out of it kind of during the tail end of the New Generation era when it got really, really hard to watch WWE. Like when everybody had a job, there was like the hockey player wrestler. Shout out to the Goon. There was the plumber wrestler. There was a
Repo Man.
There was the Repo Man. Oh my God,
Man,
what a waste. Barry Darso. I mean, right? This guy was Crusher Darso. Yeah. He was Smash of Demolition. And let's give him a Riddler mask and a hook and call him the Repo Man. And it's funny. His biggest thing in the Repo Man was like stealing Macho Man's hat. And I'm like, that's not what a Repo Man does. Right? Macho Man paid for his hat.
Right.
You know, it's going to be cool that I think the three of us are really, I'm loving this dynamic because we all stopped watching wrestling at different times. So between the three of us, we've seen all the gaps, and so we're going to be able to fill each other in.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I was a loyal, you want to talk about loyal company, man. I was a WWE guy.
Okay.
All through, like, the late 80s, early 90s. So I missed a lot of Nitro. I missed a lot of, like, the 82 weeks and all that. Like, the New World Order, I'm like, oh.
See, I'm just enough older than you. I was in college. So, like, we were having parties and watching Nitro.
Yeah.
And I'd have to go find a way to watch Raw later because I totally jumped.
See, I was kind of the opposite. I would watch Raw and then somebody would tell me something happened on Nitro. I'm like, oh, that's right. Cool. Like, so, like, I knew enough about Nitro to know, like, when Chris Jericho and the Radicals came over to WWE, I knew who they were. You know, and I remember I did see that classic. It's one of my favorite matches of all time, the Halloween Havoc, I forget what year, but it was Eddie Guerrero versus a very young Rey Mysterio.
Oh, shit, that's 90s.
That gives you credit, Eddie Guerrero in a favorite match. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
Oh, yeah, no, Eddie is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the history of the business. No, but what really got me
Latino heat.
What really got me as a fan growing up is I love bad guys. I love bastards. I am a heel mark all the way. My favorite wrestlers growing up were Rowdy Roddy Piper and Macho King Randy Savage.
Ooh. Macho King Randy Savage, huh? Yeah, man. I can see that.
Queen Sherry.
You better show me some respect. R-E-S-P-C-T right now.
R-E-S-P-C-T.
I'll turn you into a belt buckle.
Dude, I just watched while looking for clips for Martine. I've been having so much fun. I watched the clip I've seen since I was a kid. It was a promo for WrestleMania 9. And it was, it was when Bret Hart was the champion. Mm-hmm. And so it's Macho Man, Vince McMahon, and Bret Hart. And the funny gag throughout the whole thing was Jerry the King Lawler kept trying to butt in, but Vince was always like, "Get out of here!" You know, like, and the other two were like, "Get out of here."
If there's an annoying person in wrestling, it's Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah, but he did the R-E-S-P-E-C-T thing to Bret Hart in that interview. I mean, he's done it a million times, but I was like, oh, it brought a tear to my eye.
I'm sure it did.
Nitro was way more fun than WWE.
It was back in the day, bro. That's why, dude, like when Scott Hall, I remember so I watched the first Nitro and I was like, oh shit, like I thought Lex Luger was a big deal because I was actually Lex Luger mark because he never got the title and I always thought he should have, and that whole American Made thing. Did you watch all of that?
I remember the narcissist Lex Luger.
That's WrestleMania.
And then then he got all, like, basically they tried to turn him into the new Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
Then the total package is the only Lex Luger. Okay.
The body slam heard around the world.
Was that on the Intrepid?
Yes, on the USS Intrepid.
See, the one thing I remember about Lex Luger is when he lost a title match against Yokozuna, but they still celebrated like he won.
Yeah,
that was
right.
Yeah,
because it was a count out victory. But he didn't win the title.
And they wanted to put him on the throne.
That's why Lex was the first to jump ship. And I thought, but what I was going to say was I thought that was a big deal. But then when I saw Scott Hall as Razor Ramon, basically in character, I was like, what the holy shit! Like,
those are large human beings, man. My God.
Anyway, sorry.
No. Razor's another one of my all-time.
Oh, look, I got my Razor pop right there.
Hey,
cool.
Got the bad guy back in me.
Well, you see what I got back here? I've got my 3 belts. The AEW belt, I had to get that when they started. Got the female and male ones. These are from before they went to the Blue Universal Championship.
Yeah.
The jam belt.
So I looked that up because, I was hoping somebody in the chat would chime in, but maybe in the future. It was Halloween Havoc 97.
97.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So
Yeah, that was my freshman year of college.
But yeah, no, so I've been a lifelong fan. I always try to keep a pulse on the news and what's going on in the business, not just in the ring but outside of the ring. It's just a passion of mine. I spend a lot of hours of my week just.
Me too.
So you're going to have a unique perspective on the booking we're going to see as we do this show.
Didn't you say you used to do some booking? And some
I did some booking out in Southern California for some now defunct promotions, unfortunately. So I understand like how the wrestling mind works. I did some in-ring stuff during my military days. Unfortunately, injuries took me out of the ring.
Oh, thank you for your service. I was a military policeman when I was a kid.
Oh, thank you.
United States Army. Yep.
Oh, yeah, remember
same Army Engineers. SAO.
There you go.
Mondays and what is it? Dangerous.
He does Military Monday for the coffee show at 10 a.m. in the morning, and he's got Dangerous Military Nerds. I think on Wednesday afternoons. Is that it?
Wednesday, I think.
Or is it? It's either Wednesday or Thursday afternoon.
Wednesday.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah,
but you should check those out.
You should. That's a good idea. I should include that in the next week's description. But you should join one of those shows because sometimes Joe's on there, but they're all like the reason I don't go on those shows is because I didn't serve, and I like that's for y'all, man. You know what I mean?
I'm always down to
I try and make it every Military Monday if I can.
You got to put yourself over, however you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the whole Broad Street Bully thing was my gimmick. That's my wrestling character. That's me as a person. I am a douchebag from Philadelphia who loves his sports, and
that's what I always say this about football, but it's true about wrestling too. You've got some of the chosen ones that are propped up and stuff, but most of the guys that do this do it because they love it. I mean, who else would want to beat their bodies up like this? I mean,
well, if you think about it, even in the old territory days, you'd have those guys driving for like 300 miles for 20.
Oh yeah.
If that's not love and passion, I don't know what.
And they're not getting any paid any extra to do it either.
And most of what they're making is going in the gas tank. So
yeah, or in their belly in food at a hotel or something.
Or copious amounts of alcohol.
Yeah. So I don't know if we'll share it, but that's me. This is my only foray into the ring. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
That's me. So I used to be, I think I was when we first met, Joe, the marketing director for a charity here in Vegas that did cosplay. Okay. And they did a wrestling convention one time. And I have a pretty spot on Mankind. Like it's pretty, like
nice.
Even the voice.
You got the man.
Yeah, you can do it. Huh?
Watching the clip.
I'm about to pull out Mr. Saka. I put the link in the private chat if Martine wants to show a little. I mean, I won't claim it. I don't care. You show the whole damn thing. It's not long.
Well, shout out to Versus Pro Wrestling.
Yeah. This is Versus Pro Wrestling here in Las Vegas. And that's my boy Cody as Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. We got Frozone over there. And I'm about to fight somebody. And the dude makes me look like $1 million. I don't do shit, but I do the mandible claw. I slam it. It's fucking awesome. Anyway, sorry. So, back to you though. Like,
I mean, really. I mean, that's just it in a nutshell. I'm happy to be here. I hope I can use my knowledge and limited expertise.
You're more knowledgeable than all of us as far as the backstage part of it. That's for sure, Brett. And that's something that, trust me, I will be picking your brain about. Because especially when I see things that I think are totally screwed up, like my boy Baron Corbin. Why would they have him doing this? He's so much better than what they got him doing.
Well, I mean, let's just get the elephant out of the room. There is an anomaly that was Vince McMahon. Oh,
right.
Hold on. Is that Mikey O'Shea? I think
it is. Hold up.
I think it's Mikey O'Shea.
Martine, take it to. I'll tell you what point to take it to. Take it to timestamp 232.
232, he says. 232, Martin.
Shout out to Mikey O'Shea.
Yeah, dude.
Shout out to Martin Acosta Santana for helping us out.
one. I'm Mankind. I'm corporate Mankind. That's me.
Corporate Mankind.
Yeah.
With Sacco. What's up?
If anybody wants to see this, just go to my channel. It's on there. I do a whole little. This is Foley's baby boy. It's not a bust. I did the whole thing. I was ripping my hair out.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So getting back to what I was saying is, the Vince McMahon booking, even I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like some of those decisions.
Should I play this?
Guys like
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah,
Oh,
play it.
If a booker makes sense, like Triple H or Tony
Let Johnny.
Look at the big Final Fantasy sword.
Oh, he got him. He's got him. Oh. Oh. Have a nice day.
Well, they came up with the bus.
Ozone and Spider-Man and Mankind taking out wannabe Final Fantasy boy. Nice.
Shout out also to that was for Las Vegas. What's your boy's name again?
That's Mikey O'Shea.
Mikey O'Shea.
You can follow him on Twitter.
Dude made me look like $1 million.
Yeah, he did.
He's
Yeah, he
out
did.
of California, but he's a good dude.
Hey, part of that Wrestling for Dummies, he sold that like nobody's business, baby. He sold it.
He did, dude. No,
Hook, line,
that's what I'm
and
saying.
sinker.
That's what I
Yes.
mean when I say made me look like $1 million.
Yes,
Yeah, actually, Docs, you said you watched Tales from the Territories, right?
I haven't watched Tales from the Territories.
Who was
I
it
have
that
watched
said
every
that?
episode of Dark Side.
It's Dark Side of the Ring.
That's
I know-
something I've got to get into is Dark Side. I've seen
Dark
some
Side,
of the
I've watched it. I
episodes.
mean, they're good, man. They're really good.
I know. The one that broke my heart was the one about Miss Elizabeth. And
Yeah.
I feel bad for Lex over that. To
Well,
this
especially
day.
because you knew Lex Luger, so
Yeah.
Okay, you can
and-
follow Mike, the guy who just brilliantly suffered the mandible claw at.
it made me look like
Yeah.
dude. That was I'm not gonna lie, that was a
Awesome.
bucket list item. Might have been the greatest
is.
3 minutes of my life. Sorry.
There it is. Yeah. Mhm.
You can follow Mikey on Twitter at MB Wrestler 87. That's MB is in Michael Bravo Wrestler 87. He's a good dude. Like I said, he's Andy working out of California. I've actually called a lot of his matches as a commentator here in town.
You've done commentating?
Oh yeah, no, I used to be the voice of Big Valley Wrestling.
Oh my god.
Come on.
Dude, people
Shout-
that work in wrestling in smaller organizations have 50 jobs, man. He's
Oh
helped
yeah,
me-
no, you got to wear
trust
many.
me, he's helped me. He's
Wear
helped
this.
put together rings and tear them down before
What
too.
was
No
that?
doubt.
Oh, at MB 87 or MB Wrestler 87.
I'm gonna share it in the main thing for everybody.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go ahead, give them a follow.
But yeah,
as well.
I'll be picking your brain, buddy. No doubt. No doubt. I don't know. Do you? You can see a noticeable difference with the booking with now that Vince is gone, can't you?
Oh, yeah, I mean-
it's amazing. Yeah.
You were talking about guys like Seth Rollins and Corbin getting their characters back.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think those guys will ever get their original characters back, but
No.
I like that though, because it's one of the best things about wrestling is when characters evolve.
Mhm.
Like that's one of my personal favorite wrestlers of all time is Chris Jericho. And one of the things
Oh yeah,
Man,
always-
how many times has that guy reinvented himself?
exactly.
he reinvents himself almost 3 times a year,
Yeah.
and it's always over.
Actually, just watched a really cool interview on something called
Talk is Jericho,
Oh.
maybe?
No, it's Hey, Hey, Hey EW. It's some
Okay.
kind of it's a play
Okay.
on AEW,
Right.
and he did an interview on that, which was really funny. And they were talking about all of the different characters, and they said one called Man in the Suit. Was he bullshitting or is that real?
Oh yeah, no. Like when one of his returns in WWE, when he first cut his hair short, he would come out in a suit and speak very quietly,
So this is why I
very,
didn't
very,
watch it.
very monotone,
Okay.
very
Okay.
much like I'm talking right now, and he would make you hang on every syllable that came out of his mouth. And before CM Punk ever said it, Chris Jericho was the best wrestler in the world. That was the gimmick.
Wow.
That was the gimmick. Taking
Dude,
one.
that guy right there. I've heard him in interviews say that the list thing with the pin and everything.
Oh my
he
God,
just wanted to see if he could sell it. You
But
know,
the
and
funny
it
thing
turned
is-
out to be one of the greatest things ever. You know?
In that year, in that same year when the list came out, like I think it was one of the best runs of Jericho's career, where him and Kevin Owens, the best friends. I was actually at the Festival of Friendship.
The friendiversary. Oh my God, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Where she sent me pictures to make me jealous of her and Sami Zayn. I was pissed.
Oh, that sucks. So I just remember in that same calendar year, Chris Jericho. Let's just go down my list of things he got over in that single calendar year.
Yeah. Yeah.
The clicking of a pen. The word "it."
Yes.
A potted plant.
Yeah, because didn't they have a cage match where there was a potted plant as a weapon?
Oh,
didn't they have that?
Him and Dean Ambrose, now John Moxley, were feuding. And
we got 25 minutes left, man. We've got to save the. We
got
2 hours.
Yeah, I know, right? So finish talking about yourself.
Just Google "bitch the plant."
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Show,
yeah.
Sure.
I mean, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'm sure we'll find out more about me as the show goes on. I don't want to monopolize all the time.
Right on. So a lot of the viewers here already know way more than they probably should about me. But as far as my wrestling stuff goes, I was raised. I moved a lot as a kid, so. But it was weird because I always like, and my parents had nothing to do with wrestling, but just like I was young. I was born in Indiana, but I don't remember living there. But when I was very young, up till second grade, I lived in Texas, and
East or West? East or West Texas?
Houston.
Okay, then, Southern Texas. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then that's why I'm such a big Booker T fan, baby.
There you go, man. Yeah. Hey. A lot of guys come from Texas, bro.
Yeah, dude, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, when I don't know, kids will know what I'm talking about, but back then there were like, I had a black and white TV with rabbit ears that my parents let me have in my bedroom because, like, even that was like, oh wow, you got a TV in your bedroom, in the early '80s or whatever, and you only had so many channels. There were only the three main channels, but there were plenty of like local channels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, there was wrestling on almost all the time. So I'm in first, second grade. There's no more cartoons on, so I'm flipping through the like 10 maybe at best channels I have. Mm-hmm. And so that's my first memories of wrestling are Ric Flair acting like a crazy lunatic.
You know it, man.
Like just like I don't even want to get started on my Ric Flair impersonation right now, but like that, I remember Ric Flair was some of the first stuff that him and Sting, the whatever they called the Dingo Warriors,
right.
Which Sting came out of, and
that was World Championship Wrestling. Yep.
Yeah. So, but there was also like the Von Erichs out in Texas.
The Von Erichs were Texas wrestling.
Yeah, so
they were.
So then when I got to North Carolina, like by then there was WTMS, so I was watching the WCW stuff because that was, I believe, NWA. It had to be NWA in because so first grade it would have been 1980. Mom, help, 82, 3, something like that. So he's not in it. Like WCW doesn't even exist yet, does it? In 83.
WCW. Well, I mean,
NWA
World Class Wrestling. That's what it was called. They didn't call it They didn't call it WCW, but it was World Class Wrestling. It was. Yeah.
Well, anyway, dude, I can barely remember yesterday, and we're talking about
40 years.
40 years.
Yeah. I know exactly the era you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's when Luger was in that promotion.
That was when I first got into it. And then as I got a little bit older, on Saturdays, they had WWF started really in some markets, they would have a show called Superstars. And in other markets, I can't remember, it was like All American Wrestling, I think is what it was called. Was it All American Wrestling?
Or I've added the AWA.
This was
All-Star Wrestling, maybe?
I don't know. This was it was on USA Network. It was on a Saturday morning. And to date it, if somebody wants to look this up, it was the WrestleMania where Hulk Hogan fought fought Sergeant Slaughter because it was during the first Gulf War.
Oh yeah.
So
I believe that was WrestleMania.
That's 91. I can tell you that right now.
okay, so 91
91
is when I started getting into WWF, basically 90, 91, like around that time. 80,
I like to think that was WrestleMania 9.
Yeah. No. 9 is in Las Vegas, and
No, that was
Hulk Hogan's long.
That was
gone.
10. Oh no.
No.
You're
10,
right.
10 is in New York. Trust me, dude.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah. This was shit.
Did you say Hogan versus Slaughter?
It's what?
You said Hogan versus Slaughter?
Yeah, Hogan versus Slaughter WrestleMania. I know I'm only 43, Mom. That's what we just I've mentioned that a few times, and this baby next to me is 41. Well, you could be your mother's age, so that's
It says WrestleMania 7, my brother.
WrestleMania 7. There you go. So that's when I guess I first got into, because I remember I watched that. So my parents, I was a latchkey kid. Sorry, Mom, don't mean to throw you in the bus, but my mom worked at JCPenney, and my dad was a workaholic. So I was babysat by the TV, until made friends and left the house to roll.
Hey, none of us stayed home, man. None of us did back then. No.
Watch, the wrestling, but they wouldn't let me get the pay-per-views, right? Mm-hmm. So whenever I visit my aunt's always like, she spoils me, man, to this day. Whenever I visit her, she refuses to let me pay for anything, and she always wants to go and do extravagant, expensive, cool fucking shit. And so, when I was a kid, if I wanted a pay-per-view, she got it, and that was the first pay-per-view I got to watch live.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and the way I sold it was, this is for America, man, because they made it huge. Because Slaughter was in the fucking G.I. Joe cartoon. He turned his back to America. He joined, the Iron Sheik. In Iran. It was just so I would have been a young teenager, fairly impressionable around that time, and so then I became a Hulkamaniac, and I missed. Here's the thing, though, I missed all the great shit with Macho. I missed all of that because I wasn't in the right area to watch WWF at the time. Mm-hmm. So I've gone back and I've watched some of my favorite stuff ever. You know what I mean? But yeah. But so yeah, I've got a couple other cool memories.
I think the first wrestling pay-per-view I ever saw live, on the TV, obviously, not actually in the arena,
right?
But I believe it was actually the second Royal Rumble. It was the one that It was the one where Stud won.
Nice.
And I remember because I was basically raised. I was raised by a single mother until she married when I was 11. And so I would go after school to the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Yeah, hold on one second. Slasher Fred, thank you for joining us. Yes, in fact, we talked about that cartoon earlier in the show.
Yeah, we didn't get the name right though. That's the name of it. Rock and Roll Wrestling. Yep.
Rock and Roll Wrestling. I said rock and wrestling. It's rock and roll.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I remember being raised by the Boys and Girls Club of America in Philadelphia. I remember one weekend
Philly's a good wrestling.
Oh, it's a great wrestling town. Well, like I said, my family worked in Eastern Championship Wrestling, which eventually became EC Dub. That's the Dub.
ECW, most hardcore wrestling around.
Yeah, that's my roots. Bingo halls and. So yeah, I remember they put together some money on a weekend to get us the Royal Rumble. My mom dropped me off there. I watched it. And,
hell yeah!
It was the coolest match I've ever seen.
So I cut to a few years later. For me, my parents are divorced, so I had to be 14 or 15. And it was damn. I meant to look this up before the show. It was the Survivor Series where the Undertaker took on Yokozuna in Chuck Norris was a special enforcer.
Wow, Chuck Norris. At which one? What pay-per-view was it?
Found it. Survivor Series 1994. Gotcha. All right, so I actually, my dad, my mom has made it clear her opinions of my dad in the chat and on this channel multiple times. I believe the quote was, he's an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe I've seen that quote in the chat before. Yes.
Yeah. So I get that, but I have two really good memories with my dad. Sadly, only two, and they both have to do with wrestling because he hated.
Mhm.
So anytime he would so the first thing was Survivor Series was coming out to San Antonio, which was a short drive away from where we lived in Texas at the time, and I had a hardship license, so I got a driver's license at 15, so I would have been 15. Yeah, I was 24. And so he bought me tickets. He got me good tickets, like on the fucking rail on the aisleway.
Wow.
Yeah, like I could have actually, I had the potential. I could have touched one of them.
Right.
At that age,
that's pretty good tickets.
I would have been making signs and shit. I couldn't.
I've never been that close, and I've been to several wrestling events.
Actually, fortunately, just because I have friends, like anytime RVD sends me tickets, I'm in the front row.
Hold on. So. Shout out to Slasher Fred for dropping a Stay Tuned reference. John Ritter, man. You ever see that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where they had the remote controller and they were like going through all the shows?
Yeah.
That's a deep cut reference.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I didn't actually end up getting to go to that because I had my appendix ruptured and I almost died. And this was back when, I was in the hospital for a while too because it actually ruptured, and the appendix is so worthless. Like they should just remove it from everybody. It's just an extra place to hold like leftover shit, basically is what and then sometimes it's just like the leftover shit just happens to be the really, really, really bad leftover shit. And there's just too much of it in one place. And then, everybody probably knows what appendicitis is. So anyways, it ruptures and all this shit basically goes into your bloodstream and that can cause, that causes sepsis.
Yeah. Sepsis. You can die from that shit. Yeah. And it's extremely painful, as I'm sure you can attest.
It was the most painful thing I've ever been through in my life. I still remember it. I was only 15.
Yeah.
This
so
was
you missed that one. Yeah.
Well, this was back when Survivor Series was on Thanksgiving Eve. Remember when they used to do that? That was their
gimmick?
Yes,
yeah. I do remember.
It was on Wednesday night, and it was a Thanksgiving tradition. And so not only did I miss that, I missed Thanksgiving. And so I'm in a hospital. So this is what my dad did. This is my second favorite memory of my dad. My dad, who hates wrestling, bought the pay-per-view at home, recorded it on a VHS tape. Kids Google that. And then he brought it to the hospital, and they wheeled in like it was a TV on a cart, sure, like our age have seen those in the library or whatever, and had a little VCR, and he brought me some Thanksgiving food and hung out with me and actually sat there and watched wrestling with me. And he'd never done that before, and he always gave me shit about it. Hated wrestling, you know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah.
But like I'd almost.
But he knew you were hurting, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I almost like I remember them telling him because like normally appendicitis, you're not in the hospital that long. I was in there for like a couple of weeks, like
it's a bad deal.
Yeah, it was. So anyway, I've always had like this thing with wrestling. So past that, then cut to like. So I'm still watching wrestling all this time.
Oh, dude, look, guys, I can attest to this. He usually shows up on my Wednesday show, but I run till 7:30, and Dynamite starts at 7. Guess who's not there at 7 o'clock? Yeah, he's gone. He's got to live.
But there was a chunk of time where I stopped watching wrestling. So let's get to that real quick. So we all know where our gaps are, and we can help each other out.
Yeah.
Right.
So I right after Shawn Michaels dropped the title to Steve Austin, you get into what's really the proper Attitude Era, where it's like, The Rock and Stone Cold and Triple H and all like that, the white hotness, right? So I love that, but then the Nitro thing happened. So I'm more watching the Nitro and just reading on, because the internet was actually out back then. It was AOL. So I was able
Prodigy.net.
Yeah, I was able to find out what happened on Raw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would watch Nitro. And then they bought WCW.
Yeah.
So I had no choice but to watch WWE again.
Yes, absolutely.
And I hated it. And that's when I stopped watching it. So like I honestly didn't. Like I watched like the first 2 episodes with WCW, people on Raw or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I didn't watch it again until the next time I watched wrestling again, but I didn't get back in full time. Was when I heard rumblings about Bret Hart was going to come back, and I was going to miss that. And that was when my baby Lilith was just born. So this would have been, she's about to be 14, so this would have been 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And I started watching wrestling again just for the Bret Hart stuff. In fact, most of the time back then you had DVRs. I would DVR it, and I would just watch only the Bret Hart stuff. And then I watched WrestleMania, and it wasn't. It sucks. It is what it is. I'd later, find out why that couldn't be a good match and why he couldn't be in wrestling gear. It all had to do with his Lloyd's of London insurance policy that he was on.
Right.
He's going to lose millions and millions of dollars if he actually.
Yeah, the business aspect of it. I mean, what are you going to do?
It was really a bummer, and I had, I went through this thing where I was like, damn it, I kind of wish I hadn't watched it. So I didn't watch anything else after that WrestleMania again until I started watching it full time again, which would have been 2016.
Yeah.
So those are actually, if you add my 2 gaps up, bro, I might be equal to your 20 years now.
Right. Yeah. There was a big space there where I didn't watch it.
Gaps in mine. Like I said, like right around the time, everybody started jumping ship to WCW. When Razor left, I kind of stopped watching because Razor was my guy at the time. I wasn't really a WCW fan, so I've already been over that. But I didn't get back. What got me back into watching WWF was actually a video game.
Really?
Yeah, I remember I was in high school, and I went over to my buddy's house, and he had WWF Attitude.
Okay.
It was Warzone.
Warzone.
Yeah, Warzone.
Okay.
Attitude. It was the first wrestling game I played where you could actually create your own wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to create my own guy.
Dude, I wasted so many hours
creating
my own wrestlers.
Oh my god!
And I would
yeah.
Later when it got
no, wait! I spent $100 on this every year.
Damn.
Yeah.
So
every year. I'm
Same.
not kidding.
That's crazy, bro.
Every year. I played at least once a week.
I've got every game dating all the way back to Warzone.
19.
And this game right here is the one that made me stop buying games brand new. And I know you know why that is.
Well, yeah, that's why there's no 2K21.
Yeah, 2K22 is great, though.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I have that one on PS5, actually. It's just that's what I was looking for this whole time. I must have taken it to the living room or something the last time I played it. So, I had that one.
I haven't been able to upgrade to a PS5 yet, but maybe when the sweet podcast money starts rolling in.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Speaking of which, we should probably get to today's sponsor.
Yes, you should.
It's the hour break. I think.
We don't have a sponsor. I forgot.
Oh.
No.
But it's good practice to get into, pal. Good job.
Hey, this show's sponsor is, hold please. Professional care.
Hold please. I've heard of them.
Yes.
I hear they do great work.
They do amazing work, actually. So here, we're just going to do this. Today's sponsor is yours truly, the Dork Knight. If you check out the link in the chat, you can visit MixedTees.com/dork-nights, where you can find my t-shirt shop, where you can find some of my original mashup t-shirt designs. And if you use the promo code the Popcast, you'll save 20%.
There you go. And there it is.
All right. So,
and there it shall stay.
And actually, next week, I forgot to mention this at the top of the hour. I'm still new to this hosting thing. So the normal format for the show, once we get to, should probably learn the name of the radio station. Is it KGRA?
Let's hope it is.
That's not the answer I was looking for.
We're going to get called.
Martin just got that.
No, I'm about to get in a lot of trouble here.
Right?
God, I hope I got that right. Please tell me I got that right.
Yeah.
Right now. KGRA, I got it right. Woo! All right.
Yes.
So once we start, that's going to be on January 1st. Wow. January 1st.
New Year's Day.
So then, I'm going to have to actually, we'll have real sponsors, and I'm going to have to take sponsors.
Yes. You have to push it, boy. Yes.
But hey, yeah, no.
I do a mean copy read.
Yeah, they're, hey, good. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I know what college for, right?
journalism or something?
Radio.
Radio.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm the one that went to journalism school, man. I went to LSUS and studied communications journalism for 1 year until I became a bartender, started making money, and never went back to class.
Yeah. No, I got a somewhat similar-ish story. Anyway, so MixedTees.com/dork-night.
There you go.
Podcast is your promo code.
Kick ass.
All right, so
let's get into the week in review.
Yeah, right. I think we're done.
The week in review, brother.
Yeah, we filled each other in on our gaps, and I think this could be a neat idea, planting a seed for a future show or just special episodes maybe or something where one of us schools or two of you schools one or you know what I mean type of thing on what they missed, you know. That could be fun. So what we're going to do now is
actually a really fun thing to do for the group chat is once you figure out when our gaps are, actually like find some good stuff that we may have missed in those.
Find some homework for us.
Yeah, I love homework.
Yeah,
I've got the Peacock,
dude. Oh, well, it's kind of like he had me watch. I guess we're gonna do this backwards because perfect example. Joe, tell everybody.
Oh, yeah. He was saying how he loves AEW and all this stuff. I said, so you know the story of how they came about.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, yeah, Tony Khan made a show. I said, no, that's not how it happened, man. And I told him the story about Cody and the Young Bucks, answering the challenge that was put forward by Dave Metzler on Twitter and how that blossomed into AEW eventually. And if you want me to tell the whole story, I will, but we can save it for another show. But, it's a great story. And it's why I love Cody so much. It's the story of him betting on himself and cashing in. So
it's actually calling the format.
Oh, we have a format?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't get to go over with you because you were late.
Oh, I was watching the Eagles.
Okay, fine.
Right? He was watching the Eagles, man.
You were doing exactly what you were supposed to be doing, sir.
Yes.
Please continue.
Okay. Well,
we just flip-flopped it. You're gonna talk about AEW first, and then I'll talk about WWE. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, AEW, it's just a great story of Cody betting on himself and getting yielding the fruits of his labor. I mean, now you want me to talk about the history of it, or do you want me to talk about this week's episode?
So I plan to go in later and edit this and put timestamps and kind of chapter out our segments so if people want to listen to specific things they can. And I in our notes here, I wrote that this is basically going to be AEW origin story, and I was going to let you tell the origin.
Okay, no problem. Then let me start where I told you. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was blown away by this. He'd never heard it before, Johnny. I know you know this story. Of course, we start with WWE. He's playing a character called Stardust. He can't stand it. He does not like it. He wants to do something different. They let him go. He goes to Ring of Honor. No, actually, he goes to New Japan first, wins every belt they've got, and becomes a fan favorite. And then he goes to Ring of Honor, and he makes friends. Oh, Johnny knows all this. Trust me. He's in the business. He knows
the ride. It's really a great story.
And he goes to a Ring of Honor and hooks up with the Young Bucks, who he makes friends with. And they're all working in the same organization. And one day on Twitter, because they were doing really well, I mean, as well as a small organization can do. They've got their own broadcasting deal and everything, but it's not elite level like, the NFL of wrestling, which is WWE. So, Dave Metzler is asked a question on Twitter one day, and he's asked, do you think Ring of Honor could fill a 10,000 seat arena? And Dave, he wasn't talking out of school or anything. He just said, look, no, I don't think they could. Not at this point. And Cody saw that and responded to him on Twitter and said, I'll take that bet. And he and the Young Bucks put their money together. They rented an arena for the last day of August, I think, or was it the first day of September? That All Out, All In was. They All In show.
All I know is I can't wait till you get to the pay-per-view because I want to talk about it.
It's coming. But this is the deal. They did this in February, or they did this early in the year that it started, It was about 4 years ago, wasn't it, Johnny? I think about
Yeah,
4. I think they just had their fourth.
it's about. It's, I think
they
it's
just had their third All Out. So I think I'm not sure.
AEW's only been around 3 years, so this would have been 4.
But I do think there was a year gap because
their first pay-per-view was early the next year, and it was called Double or Nothing.
I was there.
Okay?
So
this was actually about 4 years ago.
I cried more than a single match here that day.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, brother, were you at that show?
Brother, yeah.
Oh, so you got to see Cody versus Dustin.
I did.
Garbage human being. I hate you.
I got to see the
I will get back on track in just a second, but I have to tell Johnny this. That is my favorite moment since I started watching wrestling again.
Oh, and
that
you could
match
feel
right
it in
there.
the room. And
oh my God! But anyway,
like, I need my brother.
That was such good classic wrestling storytelling. Oh
it is. But listen, let's get back to the origins of it. What they did was they pulled their own money, the three of them, the Jackson brothers and Cody, and they rented this arena. I can't remember. Is it American Airlines? Is that what it was? I can't remember. It's outside Chicago.
Thanks to you. So,
and nobody knew. They announced when the tickets were going to go on sale. Now, listen to this, folks. This is not a WWE show with John Cena and The Rock and Stone Cold. None of this stuff. This is a show. Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. The only name they know is Cody. Okay. They announce tickets are going on sale in February. It's going to be an all independent show. Of course, they were using their connections with ROH for the announcing, some of the ring stuff.
At the Sears Center Arena in Chicago.
Okay, so they announced in February that they're going to have a show there. There is no ticket. They don't know who's going to be on it. They don't know which wrestlers are going to be there. All they know is it's backed by Cody and the Young Bucks. They open ticket buying. They sell a 10,000-seat arena out in half an hour. Half an hour. That's how – now that – and correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, but what it said to me was people are tired of what WWE's doing.
That's
Product's going downhill. We want to see something different. We want to see something better. We want to see some wrestling.
People were hungry for an alternative.
They wanted to see something else.
I remember around the same time, even I was getting tired of Super Cena and the
I never lost
attitude of WWE at times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I got hardcore into the indie scene. Plus, at the time, that's when I was working in Southern California.
Right.
So I've met the Jackson brothers. They're from Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah.
They were big in the SoCal scene. Like a lot of those came up through PWG. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Claudio Castagnoli. Like a lot of people that are actually big names in the industry right now. I saw the indie stars.
Mm-hmm.
And,
and some of the names that were in this all-in show, like I said, nobody knew what was going to be in that show. And it sold out in a half an hour.
And a lot of the storylines, because wrestling is a lot of like very storyline heavy. They're like, how are you going to promote a show with no storylines going in? That's half the battle.
They did it the new way. They did it through YouTube.
Media.
They did it through YouTube on Being the Elite. They sold that show on that on that channel that they run.
And believe me, I'm not trying to put this guy over at all. He's a scumbag. I don't need to go into why everybody hates Joey Ryan now.
Okay.
But going into All In, his personal storyline was one of the best things going because
how what was it? Hangman murdered him, something like that.
Hangman murdered him. Yeah. And all of a sudden he comes out as a resurrection at All In.
Yes. It was too awesome. What, man?
It was the dumbest and most amazing thing I had seen.
It was. Why you get your hand up? What's up?
You guys are talking about shit I have no clue about.
Well, this is the stuff that was happening leading up to All In.
I already watched All In 2018, but I didn't know about all these storyline things because I didn't know about the YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When Joey Ryan came out, that was his resurrection, man. That's why they had the big condoms out there and all that stuff. Yeah, it was crazy.
I just thought it was weird, wacky, dude. You gotta understand. Out here we have Freak Show Wrestling in Vegas.
Well, you wouldn't watch this stuff. You wouldn't have watched this anyway. You don't like the Young Bucks, so hey,
the dude with the dildos all over him. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, he's got a German gimmick, but he's got.
Oh my god! Really?
Yeah, I've seen the most. I've seen He-Man wrestle Skeletor. Okay, I'm not kidding, man. Like, I've seen crazy shit. Thought it was like,
getting back to what we're talking about here. It was a 4-hour show. It was one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen. Some of it was cheesy, but they had.
Blown away when the second match had Steve Amell on it. I texted you, I think.
Yeah, you didn't tell me Steve Amell was in this. I was like, they're good friends. He was on Arrow a couple of times.
Like watching planches.
But the guy I really fell in love with when I saw that show was the guy that I was already a fan of, Kenny Omega. And one of the things we're going to have on the show on a regular basis is I'm going to clue you guys into some stuff that isn't on the big two. Some of the smaller promotions, not so small that nobody knows who they are, but they are on television and on the internet, and you can find them. But I had seen Kenny Omega in New Japan, love the cleaner. I dig the guy. I know
Joe,
friends of Jim Cornette are not going to like to hear that, but
Joe.
Yeah.
Before you get too far, I wanted to piggyback off what you said. So, and I don't know, unfortunately, if we're going to have time to get to it. Today. But you're talking about the State of the Apron segment.
State of the Apron segment, and if we don't have time to get to it, we're enjoying talking about shit we love. So hey.
No, it'll be fine, but
it'll be a regular on a regular basis. I'm going to give you a rundown of what the champions are doing in these organizations and who my favorites are, who I think are up and comers, that kind of thing. It's not going to be a big segment. It's just something I want you to be aware of what's coming up through the pipeline, because these are the guys that end up. For instance, did you notice when I sent you all the clips from Major League Wrestling, the ones of Alex Hammerstone? Did you see who he was doing half those moves to? It was MJF. They used to be in a faction together on Major League Wrestling when Jim Cornette was announcing for that organization. Yeah. So, and I know not everybody's got time to watch all that stuff.
I'm a fan of Twinkle Toes or the Hardly Boys since you mentioned Jim Cornette.
Well, there's a heart foundation in Major League Wrestling that a nephew of your boy there is wrestling over there. Yeah. So him and the son of Davey Boy Smith, are over there. The British Bulldogs. So I mean, there are names there. The Von Erichs are in Major League Wrestling now. So,
dude, man, you hear about the new Von Erich movie coming out?
Yes, and I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, he's got fucking jacked.
Now, is he playing Kevin or Kerry?
I don't know who he's playing, but he looks like a He-Man action figure.
Right?
Zac Efron? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, he has the hair. Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
he's got that Von Erich hair.
Yeah, man. But anyway. A 4-hour pay-per-view. My favorite part of the show was my man Penta El Zero.
Oh, the
Zero, Miato, my man Pentagon. I love him. I love that guy. I fell in love with him the first time I watched him. And his partner, Ray Phoenix, is a bad dude.
Yeah,
he's like a luchador version of Jeff Hardy. He does not care about his own body.
Right. Well, they are brothers. It's almost like they are the Mexican Hardy Boys.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you guys this, because as someone who saw AEW first, like Dynamite and all that, or Double or Nothing, was, I believe,
right.
And then, just a week ago or whenever it was, I watched All In.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so how did Penta go from being like a number one, like he was in the main event singles?
Pretty much, he was in the last singles event.
I never knew, because he's in a tag team or a triple tag team the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
How did that happen? Like, why did that happen?
Well, it was an independent show. So he's wrestled AAA and a couple other different places. He's really, first of all, for a luchador, that guy's size is huge. He's a big guy, and I would say it's just fan favoritism because everybody loves him. But the thing that was great about that match, though, was what happened afterwards when Kenny beat him, and then he got up. The lights went out, and everybody they were playing it off, and like, oh man, what happened? Did they not pay the bill? Blah blah blah. And then the lights come up, and Penta started kicking the shit out of Kenny, and then he pulls the mask off, and it's Chris Jericho because Chris Jericho had a long running feud with Kenny Omega in New Japan. And this is probably my favorite version of Jericho, the Painmaker. I love that guy with the friggin' metallic studs on the jacket, coming into his own music.
Yes,
So actually, that is what got me into New Japan. Because me being a huge Chris Jericho fan, I followed him. I'm like, Chris Jericho brought me to New Japan. He is the reason I ever had eyes on that product.
Yes. Danny, when I tell you the promos for that were almost better than the matches, I'm not kidding, dude. There was one time that Kenny Omega actually attacked Jericho at a press conference. So, it was awesome.
Take a note. I got a homework assignment for you. Okay. You know what? We should all give before we leave. We should all give one. This is yours.
Okay.
You got to get a little clip of that. Like you said, I should see this promo. Get a clip of the Painmaker promo on some, somewhere, okay. and then you'll show it to me in the audience. Mm-hmm. Most of them will probably be seeing it for the first time as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it could be almost like we have the reaction. We can pause it when you and I need to talk, so people, But that could be a cool thing. And then like you could give me homework,
right? For stuff you haven't seen. I got you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's kind of cool. And then we talk about it on the next show.
One of the coolest things I got to tell you in AEW so far was the night that he came out there and they were singing his entrance music. That was so damn awesome.
Without the music.
Without the music. They killed the music. And
that was against right? Wasn't that?
Well, I mean,
it might have been a pay-per-view. Wasn't that a championship match between him and Hangman?
Yeah.
Wasn't that what it was? Yeah, man. Jericho, boy. He's reinvented himself so
that's right. That's right, because MJF made him jump through all these hoops.
Yeah, and that was the last one.
Yeah, the one of them was like, you can't have any backup, and you can't even have your own music. Yeah. You can't even use a Judas effect.
And they were singing it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very cool. But anyway, the last match at All In, we got to see something. And guys, if you've not watched All In, find it and watch it. If for no other reason to see Rey Mysterio dressed up
as fucking Wolverine.
Right? Oh my God, that was awesome. That was the baddest thing in the world. The last match was, I'm forgetting about my favorite match, the whole thing. Cody made history and won the 10 pounds of gold against Nick Aldis. Yeah, and that's another thing I love about Cody. He didn't make himself the main event. His match was halfway through the show, so he didn't take away from his friends.
That's actually something I've always appreciated about Cody. Is that he wants somebody to put him in the...
He almost puts other people over to a fault. Yeah, it's,
that's what I was just about to say. He really screwed himself in AEW, I think, because of having that mentality while being talent. Like, if you don't, how many times have you heard wrestlers, I mean, Booker T, I watched the Booker T's Hall of Fame podcast religiously. I've met him several times. He's super cool dude. Super cool dude. He was really good to my kid.
Your mom's talking to you, man.
You don't want to send me that Wolverine link, son. Okay. Well, that's my homework.
It is cool.
It is really cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you are like a wrestler, one of the talent performer, and you don't want to be at the top, and you don't want to be the best, and you don't want to be the world champion, then you're wasting your time. And Cody almost immediately put himself out of the world championship picture with that stupid stipulation match with MJF. And I think worst decision he made in AEW. It was. He gave himself a ceiling.
I think he was so afraid of becoming Jeff Jarrett because when Impact originally started, when it was TNA, it was still an arm of the NWA at the time. Jeff Jarrett was, one of the main bookers, movers, and shakers in that. And what's the first thing Jeff Jarrett does? He puts the title around his belt, and he's always main event scene, even though
that's what a lot of the guys did in the territory days, because they figured they could only trust themselves or family. You know what I mean?
But it worked until Vince McMahon came around and gobbled it all up, which if we do have time for the WWE segment, I'll get into.
Okay, so let me wrap this up, guys. Basically what happened was a big wrestling fan was in there that night, and his name was Tony Khan. And he saw what was going on, met him backstage, and said, "Hey, you want to do this for real?" Because his family has got a whole lot of money. He runs a lot of stuff for his father. They have so many businesses, it's not even funny. It's not just the Jacksonville Jaguars. They spend most of their time in England during the year.
They own a soccer team too.
Yeah, they own a soccer team. They've got a bunch of businesses. And so that's when we saw that famous thing on YouTube where they all pulled up the phone with the Double or Nothing logo on it, and that was going to be the start. And I'm sure, Johnny, you watched the press conference.
Oh, I did.
At the poolside, whenever was it Penta that beat up Jericho? Right there at the podium, gave him a muscle buster right there.
I was like, awesome, man, we're starting our storylines right out here at the outset.
Yeah. It was a neat way to do it. It felt very organic. It felt like something that the people wanted to see, and they were seeing.
And even going almost the first year of AEW before Dynamite started, they were still doing social media storylines. I mean, these storylines were grown by Twitter, by YouTube, so by every means they could get the story out there.
You see that board over there?
Yeah.
You see number 3, Roland?
Yeah.
So Roland is the only reason I got back into wrestling like this time, because I did forget the last gap. And that is, he works at Cosmic Comics, and that's where I have my books. And one of my best friends on earth is the owner also.
Okay.
And so every time I go in there, he knew I used to be a wrestling fan, because honestly, I've been smoking too much pot. I can't remember what that last break was, but it's I think it was when John Cena. No, I do remember. I remember exactly when John Cena beat Finn Balor for no goddamn reason on a Monday Night Raw, and he should have been given the rub to the new talent.
That was a banger match, though.
It was, but Finn Balor should have won that match.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's always so weird with me how it always does come down, I stop watching over something I'm just so passionately offended by. I'm like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, right.
I'm done with it. So Roland was showing me these things while I'm at the comic book shop. He'd be like, "Hey man, have you heard of this thing, AEW?" And I was like, "No." And he starts showing me videos and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
And so it was organic, and I think that's what catapulted them. I mean, dude, they're the top 3. The Dynamite's one of the top 3 shows on cable every week.
Yes, it is. It is.
And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of the times, it's the number 1 show. All of cable. So I mean, that's not a small feat.
No,
a 3-year-old.
Raw is creeping back in there.
That's because Papa H.
The Papa H effect.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
But that's where AEW was born. Of course, they went on to do Double or Nothing. They did a pay-per-view before they even had a regular television show. Yep. And then that October, Dynamite hit the screens, and it's been on like Donkey Kong ever since, man.
What a show, though.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God.
Oh, Double or Nothing.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I was there in person, and just the energy and that from start to finish.
Oh, I'm sure.
Bell, from the first match to the last match, that building was huge.
Yep, I imagine.
The crowd was hot. Everybody.
Krampus is talking about Ric Flair again. I'm sure. But yeah, I imagine. I'm jealous as hell, man. That would have been. I would have loved, because I still, to this day, I'm telling you, I think that Cody Dustin match was the best thing in the last decade of wrestling. I really do.
Yeah, you got the one that says I was there on the back?
Yeah. It looks like an old fight poster with Punk and Hangman. Yeah.
I got the Jericho Omega.
The only thing I wanted was a CM Punk shirt, and they didn't fucking sell them. All 3 days, they didn't. The white one, the ringer one, the white one with the black rings.
Oh well, that one you got to get online. Those CM Punk shirt they were selling.
It's sold.
I have the gray one. Gray one with
I don't have one yet, but you know what?
I'll probably wear it next week.
Anybody in the chat, because I don't think I don't think we even know how to do super chats. This is because it's not our channel. I don't know, but so hey, if anybody wants to be nice and send me a one of those things. That'd be
That's my original WWE white CM Punk ringer shirt, the best in the world on the bay.
No. Okay, well, let me clarify. Not the WWE. I want the AEW CM Punk shirt. Not that
Yeah. No. I have the original WWE one. Unfortunately, I can't wear it anymore because I may have grown where the shirt got smaller.
Oh, I have that same problem with all of my suits.
Yeah. That happens with time, boys. It happens with time.
I always say other people lose weight. Other people lose weight.
I'd have to say the shirt I've got that you guys would probably appreciate the most, being wrestling fans. It's a one-time pay-per-view that they've never repeated. We went to it a few years ago. Great Balls of Fire.
I got it.
Brock Lesnar.
Show.
Yeah, it was Brock Lesnar against Samoa Joe.
Man, that was a very underrated match.
And it had the last man standing match, I think, between Roman Reigns and the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman. They brought an ambulance in for that one.
Strowman too. That was the.
All right,
I'm not done yet.
So I'm hearing all this WWE talk. Did we finish? Did I miss the end?
No, you're good. Well, I told you the birth of AEW. I got all the way to the start of Dynamite, so you're good.
The first chapter was chapter was everything from All In to Double or Nothing.
All right, so that, ladies and gentlemen, was the origin of AEW. Stick around because later we're actually going to talk about this week's AEW programming, Dynamite, and Rampage. All right, so now I guess it's my turn. Oh, God.
Yes, sir. You can do it.
It's easy because it's only 3 years old, man. The WWE, for those who don't know, was previously called the WWF, Worldwide Wrestling Federation. It was owned by Vince McMahon's dad. Vince Sr. And he started. So WWF started in 1963, and then in 1971 they dropped the W, and became just World Wrestling Federation instead of Worldwide. And then in 1980, Vince's son, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, he doesn't like to be called Junior because they have different middle names.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Bought WWF from his dad. He created an LLC called Titan Sports, and that to purchase WWF at the time. And then I don't know, a lot of people, if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend. There's an A&E biography called Wrestlemania. Yep. And I'm going to sum it up like super quick, but basically about 4 years later, all that stuff Joe was saying earlier, he's over here, all that stuff Joe was saying earlier. I tell you what, Martine, if you can swap us, that would make my life easier. But anyway.
There you go.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. That's perfect.
That guy over there.
Yeah. It's like I point at both of you at the same time. It's hilarious. So where was I? We were talking about WrestleMania 1. So all the stuff you said about Vince bullying all the territory guys.
Yes,
okay.
So forget that part. Yeah.
You're right. So I almost want you to tell it because this is just shit I read on Wikipedia.
No. You're good. I really don't want to talk about it because it was all my favorite wrestlers going to one organization, and I thought it was much better when they competed against each other.
So does this sound right to you then? So from 1980 to 1984, that's when Vince is doing all this territory collecting.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
Okay, and then once he's done that and he's made enough money off of it, he takes all of that money and even mortgages his home.
Yes, he went all. You got to give it to him. You can say what you want. You can call him a bastard all you want, but he went all in on WrestleMania 1.
If WrestleMania had failed, Vince McMahon
we would never know.
Did he mortgage his house?
That's what I said. Yeah,
he bet the farm.
He
literally
mortgaged his house. So, in WrestleMania 1 was a huge hit.
Yep.
And WrestleMania 1 was in 1985. So think about that.
Mr. T was in the main event.
Mr. T was in the main event.
Yeah.
Think about this. WrestleMania 39 is coming in a couple
Yes.
months.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm going.
Yeah, it is.
You're going?
It's in LA. Why wouldn't I go? Come on, that's a 4-hour drive.
You want to give me a ticket and give me a ride? Shit.
I haven't even got my ticket yet. I was going to buy.
I'll pay for my ticket. I need a ride though.
I was fixing to say nobody's got a ticket that yet. It hasn't gone on sale yet.
Yeah, fair enough. I gave a very, very abridged story because WWF is a juggernaut. Vince went public before he could go public. He had that's why this is kind of a funny story. So the reason it's not WWF anymore is because of the World Wildlife Fund.
They pissed off the panda people.
Yeah.
They pissed off the panda people, exactly.
No, they didn't piss them off. It's funny actually, and I'm disappointed in Vince. The World Wildlife Fund, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they trademarked and copyright and like they locked down the global trademark for WWF before WWF did. They had locked down everything in America and like probably even I don't know all the details, but all I know is like for them to be a global company, they couldn't use that
Publicly traded.
Yeah. Thank you. So they did this whole campaign called "Get the F Out."
Yeah.
I kind of like that because it led to me owning one of the greatest bumper stickers I've ever had on the back of my car. It was a panda hitting another panda with a steel chair, and it just said WWF.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's kind of cool.
It's great, man. That's awesome.
So shortly after they changed their name, Vince took the company public, and wrestling is, in my opinion, they're like, that's why I love AEW because it feels more like, and it is, I guess, a privately owned company because, the reason WWF had to do so many shitty, stupid things that nobody likes is because they have to worry about things like shareholders.
Yeah, it was different in the Attitude Era where they could just fly by the seat of their pants, do whatever they want, but now they got to worry about pissing off the sponsors and pissing off the networks, and that's why it diluted itself as a product for so long. Now they're starting to realize, like, hey, maybe we can push the envelope a little bit.
Yeah, that coupled with the fact that they did not have competition since the turn of the century.
They really did it. I mean, people can say Impact or Ring of Honor or whatever, but it's just
when you're king of the mountain, you get complacent.
Yeah,
you do.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, and that's why AEW got me back in. But the cool thing about that is WWE is putting on some really good product right now.
They've gotten better. They've seen that.
Let's talk about. We got to talk about Vince McMahon.
The elephant in the room, baby. Yeah.
What do you want to do? You want to close with Vince or open? We got Vince, Cody, Stone Cold.
Vince, Cody, Stone Cold. Well, I don't know. I think we've already covered Cody and his rise.
Okay, so we're good.
I mean, the only thing to say about Cody, we'll wrap up Cody real quick.
Yeah.
When he came back to WWE after his whirlwind tour over the last 6 years?
Yeah.
Of going and making a name for himself, working hard, betting on himself.
It's the prodigal son.
Starting a new company. I mean, he wasn't the funding, but he was the reason for it.
So, we're talking Cody Rhodes first.
Right. Cody Rhodes, what he does then, what happens is it's time for him to renegotiate, get a new contract, and now AEW's gotten enough balls in the game where they're bringing in Daniel Bryan. They're bringing in Jericho. They're bringing in guys that want to be there and are bigger than Cody. So he wants the same kind of money and not going to happen for him. So he goes back to the WWE. You can't blame him because but the beautiful thing about it is now he's got negotiating power. Now he gets to have a say in his character, which is why he left to begin with.
So to me, until the Vince McMahon story, which I think we should close with that one.
Okay.
This to me was the biggest thing in wrestling this year. Cody Rhodes jumping ship.
Cody Rhodes returning back to
WWE. I think Vince's retirement was probably the biggest.
No, I said until that happened.
Oh, until that happened.
Yeah, because it was early in the year. It was WrestleMania.
Yeah.
This is WrestleMania we're talking about, where Cody Rhodes returned. Dude, and that is like, there might be, and I'm going to talk about this, but on the very first show that's going to be on KGRA, the three of us are going to do our tops, our top matches of the year, top pay-per-views of the years, things like that. We'll do, probably the 5 each, so we don't have to kill it, ourselves working on it. But
just don't ask me to name my top favorite.
Well, let me now.
well, that's so funny. It's so funny you
Which
say
era?
that, because Mount Rushmore is on the agenda.
Oh, we always got to do a Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Just
To put the Cody thing in perspective, guys, you got to remember, this is the guy that went to AEW, and one of the first things he did at a pay-per-view was get a sledgehammer and smash a throne. He was sending a direct message to Paul Levesque, I'm going to wreck your company,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they brought it back, and it was the biggest, news.
It was huge.
I believe I turned to my buddy at the time because, again, I was live. I don't want to harp. I was there. I don't want to harp on it too much.
Yeah.
But I turned to my buddy and I was just like, "Shots fired."
Exactly.
That was the first thing I was. Shots fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he goes on to have arguably the best match of the night with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
He goes on to do a series of a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is Hell in a Cell, which the man wrestled with
a ripped pec, man, looking
ripped, completely torn off the bone,
completely torn off.
And he didn't even take it easy.
Yeah,
he's so sad. He's like, I'm already going to be on this.
That is the gutsiest performance I've seen in forever.
That is because I've been working on my match of the year list, and it's like
it's going to be on mine. I can tell you that.
It's definitely in my top 2. I'm having a hard time between it and another one, but yeah, it's Cody Rhodes is really, and you got to remember, I missed all of his Stardust stuff. I didn't.
You didn't miss anything.
No, I loved Legacy Cody Rhodes. I loved the whole.
I miss Legacy.
Legacy was great.
Yeah.
That was cool, but the Stardust stuff was just
got the entire McMahon fan.
Him in a suit like they did his brother. That's what they were doing, and it was kind of silly, man. Yeah.
All right, well then let's get into the other big WWE thing. Stone Cold Steve Austin made his return at WrestleMania in a match against Kevin Owens in the main event of night 1. The same, I believe that was the same as Cody, right?
Yeah, it was. It was the main event of night 1.
Yeah, so that's crazy. They pulled out all
unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable, and he gets to stun Vince McMahon. How fucking awesome was that shit?
That was the worst stunner ever.
Yeah.
It was.
Did you even see the look on Stone Cold's face after it? He knew he just delivered the worst stunner of all time, and he was just like, Vince.
Man.
Yeah,
but it was cool.
Vince makes sense. That's why I said let's close out with the biggest news of the year in wrestling easily. Vince McMahon's retirement. What would you like to say about that?
For the longest time, I thought Vince was going to die in the chair.
Yeah, me too.
I thought.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, it came as a shock to me. But I'm not so much once the allegations started coming out. I was like, oh man, Vince is probably done after this.
It's because it's a publicly traded company. If it was privately owned and he was having this scandal, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, but
the second his shareholders start losing tons of money, because that's why he did the Smackdown thing as quick as he did, and then that's why he announced his retirement as quick as he did, because he actually owns the majority of the stock, even though he's not president and CEO anymore. He owns the majority of the stock of WWE.
Oh, it will always be his company.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, maybe not. Maybe he didn't want to hurt like that. If that stock is hurt, he's losing money.
I think it was time for him to step down, though.
Oh, I agree. He's been booking terribly.
It's been past time.
He could have still been CEO.
They couldn't have
despite the allegations.
They couldn't have dude. There's too many allegations at this point.
Now there is.
Yeah. I mean, and how much did they fine? Was it $19 million?
I thought it was $12 million last time.
Yeah, but the thing about it, the thing that ran him out of town was he was using company money, not his own.
Yeah,
that's what sealed his fate.
I thought he should have stepped down from creative years ago because you can really tell in the 4 months since Triple H has taken over creative, it almost feels like a new product. People that weren't getting used correctly are getting back to basics.
Now it's up to
20 million.
20 million.
Wow.
Yeah. That's as of October 17th, so it's been a while. So that's the final number.
That's a whole lot of non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah.
It is. Look at how many people, and what's funny to me is look how many people they've brought back that he cut loose.
Yeah, and I feel bad for some of the guys who are locked down to contracts in other companies right now
that want to come back.
Really want to come back, like
Andrade,
Malachi Black.
Well, he finally returned to TV though. But
I heard, but I mean, you can tell he'd rather be with his wife.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's hot as fuck.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah. Sorry, babe.
I was never a Legado del Fantasma fan until Zelina Vega started coming out with it.
Right?
These guys are. Did you see that match she had with Ricochet, with Santos Escobar and Ricochet?
I did. The World Cup match.
Man, they gave 20 minutes. Man, I loved it.
It was good, and actually, we'll do shit. Do we just want to segue into review? Or are we done with the previous thing?
I mean, I just think like the only thing we can really say about Vince is like I respect everything he's ever done for the business. WWE is a global juggernaut. But he wasn't the right general to wage a war. And if we're going to have WWE and AEW indirect competition,
not this time. Yeah. I think his time has passed. I think he hung around too long, kind of like Tom Brady. He hung around too long.
Sometimes you got to know when it's
right. You got to know when to fold them and walk away. Right.
And I tell you what, now you got the guy who drove a tank. Really,
dude,
nearly a dressed up Jeep, but to the opposing arena, that's your general now. That's the guy I want leading my army right there.
And Danny and I have had this discussion, and I'm sure that you have your opinions on it too. Danny thinks that his man Hart is, Mr. Brett is the best storyteller ever. I happen to think that Paul Levesque is one of the best storytellers ever.
Like, because I really disagree with you there, respectfully. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Because, like, the thing Bret Hart did that a lot of people like Bryan Danielson or FTR, or basically everybody in the Blackpool Combat Club, they do the storytelling. Like, you could tell they worshipped at the altar of Bret Hart and the Hart family dungeon because of how they pick a body part. They work on the body part. They know how to sell. Yeah.
If he's like punishing your ankle, they don't just hop up and kip up and start doing moves.
Yeah.
Which
Triple H is good at selling. He's good at selling on the mic as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, my favorite Triple H stuff, again, because it's Attitude Era, was not DX with Shawn Michaels. I want to make that very clear.
Okay.
The absolute best version of D Generation X has nothing to do with Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
Yeah, but Shawn Michaels is just all over that. D Generation X is Triple H, the New Age Outlaws, China, and maybe X-Pac, because he was in and out quite a bit. But the core was the New Age Outlaws, Triple H, and China. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Agree.
For the longest.
I think you're selling X-Pac short because he was a huge.
Was he?
Okay. He was a huge.
Okay, then I'll include.
He brought Kane into DX.
I was fixing to say, I thought you were forgetting somebody there.
See, that was during a period of time I didn't watch, though.
Oh yeah.
So my thing is just during the DX during the Attitude Era, that's the only version of Triple H I've ever liked.
Well, remember when I came back to it, he was the authority. Him and his wife.
See, I missed that. When I came, he was
one of my favorite things I've seen since I came back to it was when Seth turned on the Shield. It pissed me off at the time, but I remember that clean sweep they had the night before against Evolution, and I enjoyed that. I thought it was really cool.
NWO Krampus Jeebus way far was better. Apparently, you weren't here earlier when one of my breaks in WWE was because I
watching WCW. Yeah,
watching WCW,
absolutely.
Bro.
Yes,
NWO
absolutely.
for life.
For life, yes. Yes. One of my favorite things to watch is, every once in a while on my feed, somebody will pop up a wrestling thing, and it's always NWO from WCW. And it's always somebody revealing they're in the club now, or like when Sting did it and was really fucking trolling them and started beating the shit out of them. It was great,
Yeah, but they really beat the NWO into the ground. I mean, all of a sudden there's NWO Hollywood and Wolfpack.
All right, guys. I know I'm usually ADD theater, especially with my medication, but we only got 20 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
Keep us on track if I can.
All right.
Okay.
Was there anything else we wanted to? I believe we're closing with Vince and going into reviewing the WWE shows of the week.
Let's do it.
All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Vince, Joe?
No. I think we've said it. We don't need to beat a dead horse. The guy, the guy is
a scumbag. Did I say that out loud?
Hey, he's both a scumbag and the most influential man in wrestling history.
Oh no!
You can't take it away from him.
Look at Bill Cosby. You can be two things that are equally great and horrible.
That's it. Exactly.
Okay. Well, then let's go on to Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw.
You want to go back to Survivor Series? Should we cover that?
No. Just only got 20 minutes left, and you've got 4 shows to review. If you want to review them, we need to get to reviewing them.
Okay. Well, we'll just spend like 5 minutes on them.
I don't mind going over time if we go over time.
Did you watch Monday Night Raw?
No, I didn't get to see it this week. I did, I catch up with things with my boys from Great Britain called Wrestle Talk. I love them. And I watched the reviews and everything.
Yeah, more of a what culture guy.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any takeaways from this week's Raw?
Well, the same takeaway I have every week. I want to see more Alexa Bliss. I want to see if she's going to go with Bray Wyatt. I want to see Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt's SmackDown exclusive right now. So
yeah, Bray Wyatt's only on SmackDown, and
he's
on SmackDown this week, but just for like a little bit, kind of at the beginning.
I like
Becky being back is cool as hell, and she's a face. Thank God. Thank God she's a face.
No,
I hate her as a bad guy.
I love Goddess Alexa Bliss. I love when I was here in Vegas when she won the Elimination Chamber, and the next night on Raw, she was all like, "Who do I have to thank? I have to thank myself." Like,
I have to thank myself.
I love Alexa Bliss as a heel, but I like her as the arrogant heel, not the creepy heel.
Right, not the creepy heel. I'm down with that. I hate the pigtails.
Yeah.
Creepy. I call her Biscuit Butt. I just love that shit, man. I think she's awesome. She is a great heel.
I personally like the return of the man.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like Becky Lynch is getting back to the Becky Lynch we all fell in love with.
Yeah, man. I totally agree, and I think that's the first thing Triple H did, because it was kind of like a sudden thing at was it SummerSlam?
Well, at SummerSlam.
SummerSlam when she fucked over Bianca Belair. Yeah.
She wanted to keep her as a heel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Becky Lynch is one of those people who is just, even as a heel, you can't boo her right now. She's just fire.
Well, the cool thing about Raw, the reason I was going to talk about SummerSlam, really is the Bloodline is the best storytelling going on right now. I put a tweet out while I was watching Survivor Series War Games, and
which is stupid. Just call it War Games, damn it.
I know, right? Well, they want to keep the Survivor Series name because it's one of the big 4. It's one of the original papers.
Well, then have some Survivor Series matches. We love those.
Exactly. Can I get one traditional style match?
I do miss them.
Even if it's just the men. I'd like to see both men and women, but if it's just the men.
I would say
because if you remember, the man was really born when they invaded Raw. And Nia Jax didn't pull her punch. That's when she was born. Okay, so
no, totally. I hated the Raw versus SmackDown version. I don't ever want that to come back.
Well, that's bragging rights. That was already a different. They co-opted a different paper.
Exactly. Survivor Series is supposed to be the 5-man elimination.
Although, in defense of that, the year that they had all 3 brands on it was the best version of that Survivor Series.
I would agree with the best version of the brand versus brand. Yeah. Having the 3rd one in there was cool. Yeah, that was good. Mm-hmm. But so the reason I was bringing up the Bloodline is because they open up the show because at Survivor Series, Sami Zayn doubles down on his relationship with the Bloodline. Hits fucking, oh my God, Kevin Owens right in the dick. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And then
aren't you excited for where this is going, though?
Oh, I am.
Yeah. I would have never thought. Look, I hated Sami Zayn a year ago. I hated that guy.
He's the most over dude.
He is the most over babyface in the company right now. He's running with the fucking heel faction.
Exactly. It's great, man.
It is.
So this is what's going to happen. So, here's what I think is going to happen. I think that it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And then I think something's going to happen at Royal Rumble where the Bloodline starts to doubt Sami again. Mm-hmm. And then somehow Sami gets put in the Elimination Chamber and wins it because the winner of that gets a shot at the title. And then Sami's going to fight Roman and lose. And then that's a pay-per-view before WrestleMania. And then Sami and Kevin Owens are going to get together and beat the Usos.
The Usos for the tag belts at WrestleMania. Yeah,
exactly. You heard it here first. That's exactly. I gave you exactly the way I would book.
I actually heard that it might actually be the Usos versus Logan and Jake Paul at WrestleMania.
Oh Jesus Christ! Please no. Oh
really?
My God! Please not that.
Don't waste a good storyline, man.
I know, right?
Because the whole struggle with Sami
over 2 years,
old friends with Kevin. If they book it right, that's going to be a great deal, man. It really is.
It is. And if anybody can handle that.
So I'm not going to do the show in chronological order. So they open up the show with the Bloodline, with everybody hugging Sami. Now it's not a secret handshake with just him and Jimmy. It's like he, Jimmy, and Jay both do the secret handshake now, and it's all kumbaya and shit.
He's not an honorary Uso anymore.
Sami Uso.
Sami Uso.
Yeah.
And so he takes on Sheamus, who has a Brawling Brutes.
That was on SmackDown.
Was that SmackDown?
Yeah, you've already moved to SmackDown. We're still on Raw.
I've moved to, it's because the storyline, because on, okay.
Yeah. That's the confusing thing. They're running this storyline on both shows.
Shows.
Bullshit.
Well, when you're the champion of both shows.
They're like, dude, you know what? The Bloodline does get the most TV time because of that. Yeah,
they do. Well, there's a reason for that, man. I mean,
acknowledge me as the
show. You can't be head of the table and not be on TV.
Yeah, right.
Come on, man.
Well, he wasn't on it. So what else was happening on? We had the Judgment Day storyline thing going on. How are you guys feeling about that Judgment Day stuff? I'm not really.
Well, I haven't liked it since they got Finn Balor in charge of it instead of Edge.
Edge
I think it's not to be funny, but it's taken the edge off of it. And yeah.
Well, the reason for that, actually, I mean, that's a direct result of the Cody Rhodes injury because
Yep.
had a lack of top name baby faces on Raw after Cody went down. They needed more people to feud with guys like Rollins and Brock Lesnar and like all of these traditionally heel guys. So that's why they made the decision to switch Edge back to being a babyface and put Finn in charge. Now, that was also a Vince McMahon decision.
Right. So Vince was just, I don't know, off his rocker. I'm actually really glad.
Yeah, and I feel like the first 2 months of Triple H's creative was just playing damage control on those last couple months.
That's it. We got to give them some time, guys. Don't judge just yet.
Perfectly. You've just put it perfectly, actually.
Damage control is more than just a Bayley stable. It's pretty much Triple H's entire first 4 months.
Gap, thank you very much. This has been a lot of fun. Hopefully it catches on and we get a little bit more people involved. Okay, well, another thing that confused me, because on Raw, not SmackDown, with the Bloodline storyline, Kevin Owens comes out after the Judgment Day match, and he calls out Jey Uso, and then later at the end they fight So how did you said you didn't watch it. Did you watch it?
I
didn't see the stuff this week, guys. No, I'm in the middle of doing artwork for Christmas for people, so I'm not getting to see
I watched
everything
Dynamite and I watched Smackdown. So
well,
I definitely caught.
Worry not, I will have my homework done next week.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, the only thing I care about really is Smackdown.
I do know Dynamite was the best they've had in a long time.
Yeah,
we'll
talk
we'll
about
get
that.
into that. But
we're going to jump back to AEW, or hopefully. So the story. I mean, I said SmackDown. I meant the Bloodline. So on SmackDown, the Bloodline storyline.
Don't worry, Sox Bulletins. They're gonna push him when he gets back. Don't you worry about that at all.
Oh, they better. Yeah,
he will get pushed.
Yeah.
I actually have a really good fantasy booking from Rumble to SummerSlam.
Oh yeah,
Cody Rhodes factors into it heavily.
Well, I think Cody Rhodes should win the title from Roman Reigns, but it looks like they're going to do something.
He will.
With Rock.
No, he will. So basically, this is how I'm gonna. So Cody Rhodes is returning in the Royal Rumble match. I'm calling it here.
Oh, dude, yeah. I think he's going to be entrant 29.
Well, the final two are going to be Cody Rhodes and Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
That's
Rock the Dwayne.
100% agree.
I like how you said that.
Eliminate Cody Rhodes and break 1 million hearts in the process.
Yeah, and get some instant heel heat.
But no, we want Rock to be the babyface going into this.
Oh, no, I think he'd get heel heat for throwing out Cody.
Oh, that's true, because Rock have him in there as a plant for the bloodline. But then you have this ego battle between Roman and Rock of who the real head of the bloodline is.
But here it is. It's like this would make sense because Rock can't come back. So he says, "Look, I'm challenging you for a non-title match. This is for the head of the table.
Better yet, not just head of the table, head of the family, title versus career."
Oh, fit.
Retire Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, shit.
At WrestleMania in Hollywood. I don't know where you're going to stick Cody on the WrestleMania card.
I don't think they're going to do that. I could see a revenge match, but
hear me
I
out.
don't think they do that.
Hey, man, this is just his prediction. When he's wrong, we can clip this back.
That's right.
And roast him.
I could either be Nostradamus or Nostradamus.
I got you.
So, we're going to give Cody's going to get a featured place on the card. Maybe give him a really good match with somebody up and coming, somebody Cody can really build a storyline with and make look.
Somebody other than Seth Rollins, because they've already had their.
So if you're
maybe Balor,
no,
Cody Rhodes versus Finn Balor, I'd pay money.
Cody Rhodes versus A-Town Down, Austin Theory, and he wins the U.S. title.
You know what?
There you go.
Yeah,
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good match. Kid would get the rub. He's already on a way.
So moving forward,
yep.
They find a way to split the titles again, or unify them into one belt, either or. Cody wins at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
There you go. I could
see. Yeah, because he's going to have more than one match. He can't just win the Rumble.
Cody ends the reign of terror,
or
at SummerSlam,
or we get another finger poke of doom moment.
And Cody joins the Bloodline.
No. At WrestleMania.
Oh, God, no.
The Rock gives Roman the finger poke of doom because he's the real head of the table and Roman knows it.
Yeah, you're just a plant, baby. I'm the guy.
And then The Rock has the titles and says, I'm going back to Hollywood. I just wanted everybody to know I'm the real head of the table. And he forfeits both. So each brand has to have a tournament to get a champion. And Roman Reigns has to chase again with the shame of being shown. That's how I think.
That's awesome.
Really good take.
That's the only
really
way
good, man. That's really good.
Get everything we want.
I thought of another way to break up the titles. Do you remember when Kurt Angle was the Eurocontinental champion? And he had the European Championship and the Intercontinental Championship.
That's a gap for me.
So he had both these belts, and he had to defend both of them in the same night in a two-fall triple threat match. This is what happens. You have Roman keep one of his belts.
Wait a minute. Let me make sure I heard that right. A two-fall triple threat match. Did I hear that right?
The first
fall,
fall.
You know what? I've heard this take.
The first fall was for the European Championship.
Okay.
Second fall, they restarted the match. The second fall was for the Intercontinental Championship.
No, you got that backwards. because it was weird. Because shouldn't the second fall have been the better title? I remember
it was, and the Intercontinental was better than European.
Right, but it was. I'm looking it up. The Intercontinental title was won first. I'm almost certain of that because I remember.
I just remember Kurt walked in with 2 belts, walked out with none.
Yeah.
And so you could do a stipulation like that where you could have the WWE title. You could have Roman lose that by not even being pinned. Superstar 1 pins Superstar 2 while Roman is like, what the hell, man? I wasn't even involved in the decision. Triple threat rules. So Roman hasn't lost. He hasn't taken a pin. And then Roman still wins and retains one of his.
So you could, you know what? That's not a bad idea.
I'd like that to happen before me.
And they've already done it with the Kurt Angle. But I think mine would be cooler. I don't know.
It would. I mean, at the same time.
All I know is this. I would like to see the belts unified. I would like to see the belts unified again.
I would be so pissed off.
Okay, maybe not the finger poke of doom.
I want to see The Rock wrestle.
Okay, fine. So here's what we do. Let me revise my story because I was kind of half joking. No, the point is The Rock wins, proving his superiority as the head of the table. And not only does he get that title and Roman can't use it anymore, he gets his titles. But then The Rock says, I don't want these titles. I don't need these titles. I'm going back to Hollywood. Raw, here's your title back. SmackDown, here's your title back. Do your damn thing.
That would be perfect. That would be really good. And look, whatever they're going to do with The Rock, it's not going to be a long run. The guy's busy as shit.
No, 2 matches.
Yeah, it's not going to be a long
29 or 30 in the Rumble. He's in the Rumble maybe 5-10 minutes tops.
I like those Hollywood promos, like live via satellite.
Yeah,
the whole feud was built on live via satellite.
Yeah,
yeah. That sounds cool, man. As long as Cody's the one that takes the belt off of him, I think it's going to be cool no matter what they do. I do know for the immediate future, I'm really enjoying the Sami Zayn part of this thing because
I don't know where you're going, but I love being along for the ride.
Yeah, man. Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy what they've done with this, man. It really is. They wanted Roman to be the guy. We've known that for, a decade now. They've wanted him to be the guy. But he just doesn't have the it factor that a lot of the other guys do.
He does now. I mean, he's not kidding when he says he's in God mode. Well, hey guys, we got less than 2 minutes to the KGRA time constraints, and typically in the future, just during those final 2 minutes, I'm supposed to throw in another 30-second spot, but I'm not willing to do that right now. Is a minute and a half enough time to cover AEW this week?
Dude, I don't know. That whole MJF thing.
Hold on, wait a minute.
It looks like, I mean, if you want to cut it down to the bare bones of it, it looks like, what's my English guy's name that he cracked in the back of the head with the friggin' brass knuck? Regal. Yeah. Regal. I'm having a senior moment. I apologize.
It's all good.
It looks like they're getting him off TV, like he may be going back.
All right, so here's what I want to do, guys. Here's what I want to do.
Real quick, can I give my 10-second review of Dynamite?
No, because I'm going to give an entire review.
Okay.
So give me just a second, please.
Okay.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap up for the radio show right now, and we thank all of the listeners for tuning in, or anybody who watches this on a replay for joining us. Sorry we ran out of time. We're new at this. We'll get better at it. There's a reason every time I'm on Gary's morning coffee, he calls it ADHD theater. A tendency to ramble.
You did good today, man. You did good.
So, but for all of those of you, I think I said that right, watching us live, we'll keep talking. But I just want to give a cutoff point for a future edit. But we'll keep going, so we can even finish talking about WWE if you want.
Yeah, straight on SmackDown.
Okay, good. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And please enjoy. I hope you've enjoyed this first episode of Dork Side of the Ring. Thanks.
And keep on keeping on, like I always say.
There you go. Yep. All right, so that's enough of a pause for them to get a cut out of that. You want to talk about SmackDown still?
Yeah, SmackDown. Yeah. And there's the graphic. Boom, 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 boom.
Boom. I like that. Nice.
Yes.